Good afternoon, class. I thought I would give a brief rundown of what your English 1010 is going to be like, or English 1101, excuse me, um, online during your 16 weeks. If you're able to log in to your Coastal Pines email account, I hope you saw the email that I sent out. I think it was last Thursday. It kind of talks a little bit more detail about Blackboard and how to access some of your your information. Excuse me. um, as it relates to finding assignments and materials and that type of stuff. So what I'm going to show you really is I'm going to give you sort of a brief run through. We're going to talk a little bit about the syllabus. I'm going to show you a little bit what's on Blackboard, so you can go ahead and get started. I'll probably give another video maybe Wednesday or Thursday. That way to give you a couple days that you can really go ahead and start looking at some of this stuff. Um, but yeah, let me go ahead. My name is Patrick Wilson. I will be your English instructor for the next 4 months or 16 weeks. I'm going to share a screen here. Hopefully, you'll be able to see it. Um, so, what you're looking at is my Blackboard page. So, it's going to show the classes that I teach, but on your end, it should see the classes that you are taking. So, in my case, we're going to click on the 405-77 CRN because that's the only one that's English 1101 online. So I'm going to click there. And as you can tell, again, if you looked at the emails that I sent out, it sort of goes over this to some degree. And I'm going to blow this up a little bit. I don't know how much I can blow it up without it really going off the page. But as you can tell, you have a home page. There's really nothing on the home page. It's just going to tell you, if there's anything new, if there's anything that needs to be graded or past due. That's more or less for me and less for you. My contact information is right here. Really, the easiest way probably to get a hold of me would be my Coastal Pines email account, which is on the syllabus. And we'll talk a little bit about that momentarily. My office number is down below. You can always call if I'm in class or traveling or whatever the case may be. You can always leave a brief message, a number. Make sure you tell your name, first and last name, and the class that you're taking. Because I am, like it says here, nearly teaching 7 courses, and sometimes the names all start to run together, especially early on when I don't know everybody. It's easy sort of to remember my name because I'm only one person, but when I got 7 other classes and 10 people here, 20 people there, it's going to be kind of hard. I do in-person tutoring Monday through Thursday, 8 to 9 in the morning. More than likely, that's going to be at the Camden campus. That is my home campus. You can set up a schedule. We can either meet in a classroom or we can meet in a library if you want to do in-person tutoring. You don't necessarily have to stay the whole 1 hour. You can stay as long as it takes. Obviously, I do have a class that starts at 9 o'clock Monday through Thursday, so I'd have to wrap it up by 9 o'clock. I also have some virtual tutoring hours where we can either do like a Blackboard Collaborate or a team session. Again, you probably want to set that up by appointment because everybody's schedule online is a little different. So usually I'm going to have that 2:25 to about 3:40, and I do have some office hours scattered throughout the day. Even though it looks like there's only 40 minutes here and 40 minutes there, I do have a good bit of time from 4 to 6 most afternoons. So if you just want to come by the office and chit chat about something, that's fine. Just let me know that you're coming so I can expect you. Assignment checklist. This is really good. I'm going to download this and the reading checklist. This is sort of going to be your best friend, or one of your best friends, I guess, in the course, because it's basically going to tell you what assignment is due and when. So your first quiz is going to be due this Sunday. Your second quiz is going to be due the following Sunday. First essay, the 30th. So as you can tell, most things are due on Sunday, except as you get closer to the end of the semester. We do have something that's due on Monday and something that's due on Thursday. And then the final exam, you have 2 days to possibly take that. But for the most part, it should be pretty clear, cut and dry. Things are going to be due every Sunday unless I notify you and tell you otherwise. So just keep up. This will tell you when things are due, what it is, so on and so forth. The other thing, let's see, is the reading list. Let's say that you want to know what you need to really be reading. This will help you. It kind of tells you what you need to read by the end of each week. Chances are, because you're going to be dealing with about 5 to 6 quizzes, a lot of these readings is going to be covered on your quiz. So as you can tell, it looks like there's a lot, but really there's not. When we look at our OER textbook, a lot of it is diagrams and charts. Some is exercises, so you can cut a lot of that stuff out. But you definitely want to kind of keep up with the reading. If you're a procrastinator, then this is not going to be the class for you, because there's going to be something due every Sunday, and it's either going to be in the form of reading stuff and taking a quiz, or reading stuff and writing about it. So as you can tell, as we get closer to the end of the semester, the reading load gets lighter, which we expect that because you're going to be working more on the research project as we get, past midterm. So just keep in mind of the reading. And this is all, these pages are in your e-text. And I'm going to show you where that is right now. So if you go down, textbook, click on it. It's going to pull up your online e-text. So you don't have to buy a textbook for this class because it's already here. It just may take a few minutes to load, but when I have pages, read pages 6 through 16 or read pages 25 through 40, this is what I'm talking about. You would want to pull this up and read through the pages. And I will show you here if this thing will ever load. It's kind of slow depending on the internet. And of course, the weather here, it's not got this cold front moving in. It could be part of the problem. Notice it's 273 pages. Are we going to cover all 273 pages? Chances are probably not. But we're going to cover a good bit. And again, your first bit of reading is 6 to 16. And if you look, you have a big old chart. You may have some exercises. You don't have to do these exercises. Just read the material because I'm not going to collect these exercises. So you can skip those. And as you can tell, by the time we get to page 16, it's really not all that bad. So skip the exercises. You don't have to do those unless you just want to. I'm not going to take the exercises up for a grade or anything like that. You're not going to be quizzed on those particular exercises or anything. But you will be quizzed on the particular page numbers that I give you. So going back to that reading list, anything in week 1 is fair game. Because your quiz on Sunday is 10 questions. They're 10 points apiece. It's true, false. If you did the reading, it should be a pretty easy quiz. If you didn't do the reading, then I can already tell, and you're going to know real fast, it's not going to be an easy quiz. If it's true, just put T or write out true. If it's false, put F or false. But to get full credit on the false questions, you have to turn the false statements into true statements. So if you just put false and move on, I'm only going to give you 5 points because you didn't follow instructions. You didn't turn that false statement into a true statement. If you turn that false statement into a true statement, then you would get your full 10 points. So again, This week's quiz is true false. Next week's quiz is true false. You're going to have a variety of different styles of quizzes. They're not always going to be true false. Some of them are going to be fill in the blank. Some of them may be matching. Some of them, of course, may be the true false. Some of them may be multiple choice. So you're going to have different styles of quizzes. So don't get too used to everything being true false, because it won't. So again, this is sort of what you need to go take that reading list, look what you need to read through week 1, and use this OER book to do that. If you go to lessons, as you can tell on your end, you're probably going to see the week 1. And this is sort of giving you an overview. This gives you the page numbers that you need to read in that e-text again. 195 to 204, 88 through 94, 44 through 53, and 6 through 16. Again, that's all coming from that e-text. If you click on the week 1 folder, you're going to see this lecture video, which again, I suggest that you watch so you understand what's going on. And each week, you're going to have 3 folders. You're going to have rhetoric and composition, a grammar folder, and short-term and long-term assignments. The short-term and long-term assignments is where you're going to find information on your essays, which are the long-term assignments, and quizzes, which are the short-term assignments. Grammar, you're going to find stuff related to grammar. Again, rhetoric and composition. A lot of these web pages is just really supplemental material, meaning they're just extra added information to go along with the e-text reading. So if you read pages 6 through 16 and still don't understand what academic writing is, then you can come to this page and look up at academic writing by clicking on there. Now again, notice some of these are longer. You don't have to necessarily read every single page. You can skim, you can look at the table of contents to kind of help you out with your particular issue. Again, don't feel like you have to read everything here. This is just more or less for your own knowledge if you need to have additional information to put toward what you read in the e-text, because that e-text sometimes is not, it's short on certain areas. So for some people, you may need a little bit more about narration, and that's fine. You would come to one of these folders and look up additional information about narration or thesis statement or topic sentence. Use these particular supplemental files or links to your advantage when you need to. So, a lot of folks will look at this like, man, damn, you got all this stuff here. Do I have to read every single thing? Do I have to look? No. But if you're having problems with thesis statements and you read the stuff in the textbook and it still doesn't make sense, click on here and there's more information about thesis statements. So use this as a guide to sort of help you. Okay. So going back, same thing with the grammar. You're going to see some information here, grammar. Now, every Sunday at midnight, some of these folders that are inside here will close down. Because at midnight on Sunday, each Sunday, it opens the next week's stuff. So if you need to download for note-taking purposes or study guide purposes or whatever the purpose may be, you have 7 days to download, print out, save, whatever it needs to be, because as it turns into Sunday midnight, week 1 stuff is going to go, it's just going to disappear. You're not going to be able to get into week 1 stuff. Week 2 will open up. And it's always going to be those 3 folders. You're going to have rhetoric composition, you're going to have the grammar, you're going to have short-term and long-term. So the only difference is what's going to be opening up for that particular week, because different weeks are going to open up different things. So when you look on mine here, you're not going to see everything. You're just going to see what's open for you to really focus on during week 1. When it comes to week 2, your week 2 stuff will open up. Week 3, week 4, week 5, so on and so forth. If we look at the short-term and long-term assignments, here's the quiz. I'm going to go ahead and make this available. So you can pretty much take it, after you read those pages, if you feel confident, and you're probably going to get an email here soon. It's a 60-minute quiz. Once you start, you got to finish. It's due on the 16th by midnight. And it's 10 questions. It's true, false. Again, it shouldn't be tricky. It will be tricky if you don't take it seriously. That's sort of like any other test or quiz you got to take. As it gets closer to next week, I will make quiz 2 available. I need to make a essay 1 Dropbox, but you have a couple, you have about a week or so before that happens. Let me pull up essay 1 topics to kind of show you what you're working on. So the first essay is a narrative or a micro or flash narrative. In a lot of ways, you're sort of telling a story, right? When you think of narrative, you're thinking of telling a story. It has a beginning, middle, and end. It has exposition, it has arising action, it has plot, it has characters, it may have figurative language, symbolism, you have falling action, and then you have sort of the conclusion. And we will probably get a little bit more in detail on Wednesday or Thursday, because again, there's some information there that will help you with your narrative. But I'm sort of going to give you the perimeters. It needs to be an MLA 9, double space, Times New Roman 12, and I will show you the template here that you need to use. It needs to be at least 2 pages or 500 words, no more, no less. So when I say 500 words, I really mean 500 words or 2 pages. If you get 500 words and you're at the end of page 1 and you feel that you told your story well, you don't need to add anything and it makes sense, stop. If you get to the end of page 1 and you're only 300 pages, then you probably need to go in, or 300 words, you probably need to go, additional 200 on the second page. Again, you want to check the deadline. So you want to look at your assignment checklist for this particular deadline. I believe it's going to be on a Sunday, and I think it's after quiz 2 is going to be due. So I think it's on the 23rd, but double check that. And these are 10 topics. You want to choose one, and you want to tell a story about it. So the most shocking incident on campus, high school or college. That's a pretty good topic. First day at college, toughest decision you ever had to make. Losing a precious object. The earliest birthday party you remember. An incident that changed one of your relationships forever. Meeting up with an online friend, which that could be kind of scary and dangerous and exciting all at once, I guess. A foreign cultural event. A scary moment during a holiday. Is it ever right to snitch on someone? So the first 9 will probably be a little easier. Number 10, you'd probably have to come up with some sort of scenario or story, which could be more of a challenge. Again, you got 10 particular topics. You only need to choose one, and you only need to give me 2 pages or 500 words, whatever comes first. So if you're looking about how to do the MLA format, if you go up to, all right, if you go back to where it says File in your Microsoft Word, and you go to New, and you go up here where it says Search for Online Templates, you want to type in MLA and hit Enter. And probably what it's going to do is going to give you 3 papers. The first 2 is going to be MLA Research or MLA Style Paper. Either one of the first 2 is great. It doesn't matter whether you do the research or whether you do the MLA Style Paper. I'm going to just do the second one since it's just plain MLA Style Paper, but it doesn't really matter. So you're going to create that. And it basically tells you, even though this is sort of a Microsoft Word hasn't really changed their edition. We're really on the 9th edition. But a lot of the basic information is still the same in the 7th and 8th. So if you want to read a little bit more of what MLA is, you can kind of go through this. But for the most part, you don't need any of this stuff. So what I suggest you do, because you want to keep the template, you just don't want to keep this stuff because it doesn't have any relations to your paper. So you're going to erase everything up to this point. So you want to keep everything else here, your header and this title. So what you're going to need to do is put your name, first and last. So I'm just going to use Jeff Smith. And then I'm going to use my name. Of course, the course number is, you can abbreviate it, ENGL 1101. And the date, I would put the date that the paper is due. So I'm going to just do the 24th. I believe that's when it's due. Where it says last name, you want to double click on that. You want to erase the last name and put your own last name. Double click or hit the X button. And really what's going to happen when you get to page 2, page 3, page 4, this should stay, it should go Smith 2, Smith 3, Smith 4. Now, as it relates to the title and subtitle, you don't necessarily need a subtitle, but you do need a title of your essay. And this is something that you want to avoid, these types of titles. One is not having anything there because that doesn't tell me anything. Paper 1 is kind of a boring title. Essay 1, kind of a boring title. Narrative 1, kind of boring title. And why? Why is it boring? Because I know it's paper 1, essay 1, narrative 1 for everybody. You need to give me a title that reflects on what you're talking about in your particular paper. So you don't go to the movies, right, to see movie 1. Or you don't turn on the TV to watch episode 345. So the titles don't have to be really long. They can be incomplete sentence. I mean, think of some of your favorite TV shows or movies, right? My greatest day is a particular title because depending on what you're talking about, it should reflect back onto the title. You should tell me something about your greatest day. And if you look, after you indent, because you want to indent when you do new paragraphs, which is just tab or 5 spaces, I'm going to use my X. As you can tell, everything is in the right particular order because I'm using this template. Everything is double spaced. Everything is Times New Roman 12. And everything has a 1-inch margin around. So if you use the templates that Microsoft provide for you for free, you won't be losing points as it relates to format of your paper. And I'm going to show you how it should go to here. You may have to do that a few times because sometimes I won't necessarily take it, but it should after. See, now it's Smith 3. But that's how you need to have all your essays for this particular class from essay 1 until the very last essay that we do. We're using MLA. We're using Times New Roman 12. We're using the MLA 9 edition. We're double spacing everything, 1-inch margins. Each new essay that we do, we're increasing the paper amount or the page amount or the length and the word count. So like paper 1 is going to be 2 pages, paper 2 will be 3, paper 4 will be 4, paper 5 will be 5, so on and so forth. All right. So let me back out of this. What I'm probably going to do as well is I'm going to send this out. It's a syllabus agreement. I'm going to email this to everybody. And after you actually read the syllabus, because I'm not going to go over word for word everything in the syllabus. I'm not going to waste your time or mine or your intelligence. I know you know how to read. But after you read through it as thoroughly as possible, if you could please sign this and date it and then send it back via email. So I can have it on record of me basically saying, hey, I covered the syllabus, but you also had a chance to read it and you signed off, so you must have understand everything that was in the syllabus. And I will send that out later today, so check your email about that. So again, you're going to find additional information about narrative writing. Goes in a little bit more detail, right? Using descriptive words, sight, touch, taste, smell, and sound. We're going to get a little bit more involved with that when we do the descriptive paper, which is your second essay. What does a narrative essay include? A narrative essay should all the parts of a story. So if you look, an introduction, a plot, sequence of events, characters, setting of place, climax or focal point of the story, conclusion. Generally, you're going to be writing in first or third person. Is going to be your point of view. The purpose, right, is going to act as your thesis to your narrative essay. So remember, your thesis statement is basically what your whole paper is going to be about, and it's a statement. So it should end in a period. It should be the last sentence of your introduction paragraph. Shouldn't be a question mark. It's not a thesis question. It's not a thesis paragraph. Usually thesis statements are really only one sentence in length. So just make sure that you're not going too far off on topic when you're trying to do your thesis. But here it gives you different techniques and tips. If you're really wanting to look at 2 professional draft essays, the Shitty First Drafts is a really good. It's really short. It's a personal. It's only about 10 paragraphs, and it really talks about how our first drafts are never our best drafts. That's why we go through the process of writing additional drafts. We go through the rough draft process. We go through the proofreading and editing process to get your writing better, to get the grade that you want. So what I suggest too is, again, it's just a suggestion. You can send me rough drafts of any of your essays between now and when something is due. And I will read your essay and I will mark it up. I will tell you what you need to fix to be able to get a good grade. We also have Smart Thinking, which is a online 24-hour tutorial service. If this is your first time in this particular semester, it may take a week or so to get all your information up. If you've been here before, then you should know the whole deal about how to go about doing Smart Thinking. I'll probably talk a little bit more about that here in the coming days. And sometimes it takes about a week or so to really get working. There's another piece that's a really good narrative piece of writing, which is Only Daughter. This integrates a little bit more with character. You have dialogue, and it's relatively short. There's another sort of A quality essay narrative in your textbook when you're doing your reading this week. You will see that. So you really have 3 models. If you're looking for a 90 or higher paper when it relates to the narrative, you have your choices. The other thing is, I want to point out, we have a librarian sort of embedded in our class. Her name is Lorna Reed. She's our librarian at the Camden campus, and she's going to be embedded in our course. As you can tell, once she's able to add stuff as it gets closer to the research paper, she's going to put important information here that will help you how to find sources, how to cite stuff, how to quote maybe a Twitter page or an email, something of that nature. And if you look, discussion board, at some point she's going to have a discussion board if you want to ask her any questions as it relates to the library information type stuff. She's probably going to be checking these on a daily basis, and she will get back to you as quickly as possible if you have any information or any concern about how to go about doing research, finding research, and that type of stuff. Okay, let's look at the syllabus. And again, I'm not going to go through everything. I'm just going to hit the high notes because you actually have 6 days after the day to read through all this stuff on your own. So this is my office number. Again, I'm Patrick Wilson again, if you feel the need to call me. And if I'm not here, you can leave a message. But I would suggest that probably the email is going to be the best bet, because I'm going to be here Monday through Thursday, 10-hour days. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I generally have off like most Coastal Pines staff. I do check email and stuff over the weekend, but just, kind of relate just know that there might be a 24 to 48 hour period, depending on if it's a holiday, so on and so forth. Just like you to have your downtime and rest, we like to have our downtime and rest too. That's not to say that we're trying to blow you off or be rude, but the best time to really email me would be Monday through Thursday. But again, I know people get busy, people got multiple jobs and classes and a family, and sometimes you just can't commit to that. So feel free to email me. Just know that if if you email me stuff like 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night or in the morning, chances are you're probably not going to get it until the next day anyway. Because I'm not going to be up on a Friday hovering around my email at 3 o'clock in the morning. I just, I'm not going to do it. I got a family, I got kids, I got a wife, I got a life. So just keep that in mind. This is the description of the course. Of course, you can kind of read that, but in a nutshell, basically what English 1101 does is it teaches everybody, hopefully by the time you leave week 16, that you're writing better than you did week 1. So we go through, numerous rhetorical modes of writing, right? Argumentation, persuasion, research paper, narrative, description. We do a lot of different types of writing at the professional and academic level. We look at various stylistic usage, how to proofread and edit your own work using standard American English grammar. There is some readings, but it's really a highly intensive writing course. As you can tell, there's something going to be due just about every Sunday. And some of that's going to be in the form of, short essays at the beginning, but as we get later in the semester, they're going to be a little bit more lengthy and longer. This sort of goes over more additional stuff. Computer policy, I would definitely click on that, especially if you're coming to college to use our Wi-Fi for any class. Don't get caught doing stuff that you know that you don't need to be pulled up on your computer. Lottery, gambling, buying things, porno. Because if you're using the Coastal Pines Wi-Fi, it's going to flag you. And there could be there probably will be, if when and eventually when we do catch you, serious consequences. So you don't want to do that. Just go through that policy and set the computer and internet usage. Most people are, adults about it. They know what. Look at it this way. You don't pull up something on your computer that grandma or your mom would be embarrassed if you showed them, right? If they're standing over your shoulder or your boss. Course material, here's another link to the book if you want to click that. Really what I would suggest for this particular online course, because you're not really meeting in class per se, it's more or less online, have at least a notebook, something you can take notes. Maybe have a couple folders to keep graded stuff and drafts, just so you can have something that you can refer back to. And I would definitely get a flash drive or a thumb drive, so when you start typing your essays, that's how you're going to save and upload them to get graded and send me drafts. Everything else you could pretty much get, either free online, like the dictionaries and the handbooks and the thesaurus. Obviously, you want to have great internet connection and computer access, because if your internet's kind of shoddy or your computer is going to blow up on you, you're not going to do well on the internet, on an internet class. This class is really hard to do by phone. So if you try to do anything Blackboard related over your phone, you're probably going to realize you can't do it, and you really can't. So just be wary of that. Here's the deal. You really need to, being that it's an online course, within 3 days of the semester starting, which, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So by Thursday, if you're in this class, you really need to send me an email. That's kind of, common courtesy to let me know, hey, you're still enrolled in the class, because day 4, day 5, If I don't hear from anybody, I'm going to mark you as a no-show, and you probably will be dropped next week. You could probably get re-added into the class, but it could be one of those situations where it's going to be could be a pain. You may have to pay extra money. If you are behind on an assignment or two, it's going to be possibly hard to catch up. Not not impossible, but probable could be. So just be wary. You really need to get in touch, and that's not just with me. That's for any online or hybrid course. You really need to get in touch with your professors and instructors within the first 3 days of that semester. Otherwise, we're going to mark you as a no-show and just remove you from our roster. There's not necessarily a attendance policy per se, but I will say this. That's sort of the reason why we have something due just about every Sunday or whatever, because turning in the assignment acts as your active participation in the course. It shows that you are serious, that you are involved in the course. So the old rule used to be if you miss 10% of class or 3 or more days, chances are you're probably failing the course or you're not doing really well in the course. And again, even though we're not taking official roll per se, I would say that that rule still applies. So if you're missing more than 3 days, chances are each, let's say you missed this Sunday, next Sunday, and the Sunday after, well, you've already missed 3 assignments. Each time you get a 0, it's like taking 20 points off your final grade. So you're at a 40 now. Chances are there's no way you're going to be able to pull that 40 up, even if you make 100 on everything on here on out, which that's never really happened either. So if you miss three classes back to back, you probably want to go ahead and withdraw because you're at a 40 or lower, and there's just no way you're going to pass the class. So be wary about that. The other thing is, if you have a disability, learning disability, ADD, ADHD, if you need additional time, we will accommodate you, but you have to give your information, your doctor's notes, and all that information to Kathy Montgomery. This is her email. This is her phone number. She needs to have that information for me to sign off on. You can't just email me and say, hey, I had extra time when I was in high school. Can I have extra time here? And I'm basically going to email you back and say, hey, did you talk to Kathy Montgomery and send your stuff? If you didn't, then I can't give you accommodations because you have to go through the proper chain of command. So make sure that you do that. I don't mind accommodating, but it has to go through this chain of command before I can do anything. Grading scale is basically on a 10-point increment. 90 to 100 is the A. As you can tell, 0.5 or higher, I will round up at the end. So let's say that you have a 92.5 at the end. I will give you a 93. I will round up. But let's say that you have a 69.4. Then I'm going to round down because it's 0.4 or lower, so you're going to have a 69. It just makes the grading and manipulation on Blackboard easier. Most folks want to have a C or higher, so you're really looking at this. If you have a D or lower, chances are you're not passing, and you will have to retake the class, whether you stay here or if you transfer, because English 1101, just like college algebra and Psych 1101, some of these 1101 courses is really what they call a core requirement. It doesn't matter whether you take it in Georgia or if you take it in Sudan. You still have to take it because it's one of those core requirements. So just keep that in mind. More likely, if you got a D or lower, you're going to have to repeat. And I usually, I say this to every year, every semester toward the end, we offer 1101 English annually. You can take it in the spring, you can take it in the summer, you can take it in the fall. If you feel like something's just going on in your world, your life, that you can't concentrate, then there's just it doesn't make any sense to cause more stress if you know the end result is going to end in a D or an F anyway. Just drop the class and retake it when you can. It doesn't mean that you're any less intelligent or stupid. It just means that you are not focused because something's going on in your life. And I would rather you drop the course to save your GPA and to save your financial aid if you got that, then see it through and get a D or an F, and it ruins your GPA, and now you're not getting any financial aid next semester. Grade weights. Weekly motles is basically like those weekly quizzes. As you can tell, they're only 5%, so they're not a big chunk. They are sort of going to be that difference between the A's and the B's, the C's and the D's. In the past, what I've done was toward the end of the semester, I dropped your lowest quiz grade. So let's say you take quiz 1 and you don't do really well on it. Well, as it gets closer to the end of April, you're going to email me and say, hey, that's the quiz I want you to drop. So it's going to be like you never took it, and it's going to improve your grade. Essays, you're really going to have 6, but the first 4 kind of the shorter ones. If you look, I give you little footnotes, and the reason I want the footnotes, it tells you the percentage. Essay 1, which is your narrative, 10%, 2, 11%, 3, 12%, 4, 13%. The big research paper toward the end is 39%. Final exam, we'll talk a little bit more about that. That's going to be a Proctoru event. That's 10%. And then this all sort of equals out to 100. Chances are you're probably not going to get a whole lot of extra credit just because we don't have time. College level classes really are not geared to just give you countless extra credit chances. We are not Cats. We are not Mario. We don't have multiple or 9 lives. The same thing with your grade. So you want to take every assignment that you have to do and turn in for a grade seriously and get the best possible grade that you can on it. If you don't do so well on it, then move on to the next assignment. And hopefully you do better. My email inbox is open. If you know that you're having issues, you need to email me. You need to call me. We need to set up a Teams virtual tutoring or an in-person tutoring. I wouldn't wait until 7 weeks into the semester to start saying that you have trouble when you knew you had trouble the second week into the semester, because by that time it's going to be hard to catch up for some folks. Plagiarism, cheating, we're going to talk a little bit more about that as it gets to the research paper. Usually I don't see that on the first earlier essays because you're really writing on stuff that or a personal experience of that nature. But the first offense, if you're caught cheating or plagiarizing, you get a 0 on the assignment, no question asked. Doesn't matter whether it's research paper, essay, homework, quiz, test. It doesn't matter if you get caught, you're getting a 0. Second offense, you fail the course, and chances are you're going to have to go before the board, vice president, president of the college, and then they're going to determine whether they suspend you for a couple semesters, a couple years for good. So it's just not smart to buy a paper or get caught up plagiarizing or cheating on a paper or a quiz. Most folks that do, they only do the first offense because, again, that 0 is going to hurt you. If you got an 80 in the class and you make a 0 because you plagiarized, well, guess what? You got a 60 now. So it's not worth it. And as we get closer to the research paper, I will show you how to properly document sources. Paraphrasing, MLA, in-text, parenthetical citation, stuff that you will help you in other classes. Because everything that you learn in here is going to help you in other classes at some point. You may not see that now, but if anybody has kids, you got kids that are going to go through middle school and high school that are going to have to write papers. You're going to have kids that are going to have to go through college that are going to have to write research papers. It gives you some information. Again, you may have to wait a week or so because they don't have all the information. If you're a new student, they're waiting to upload all that stuff. Proctoru, we will talk a little bit more about Proctoru, but there's some information here about Proctoru and how to go about doing the Proctoru experience. Again, as it gets closer to the first week of May, you're going to have information about Proctoru. Since your online course, you probably don't need a whole lot of police contacts or police numbers, but if you're taking any kind of in-person course, here's some numbers that, if you feel like you need. The syllabus is subject to change. Any changes will be announced in the classroom. Changes will supersede the syllabus. So if something goes on, and usually I don't change the syllabus unless it's to push stuff back or take something away. I usually don't add stuff to a syllabus just because we got enough stuff as it is. But I will try to, I will email you or give you an announcement, as quickly as I can, usually within a 24 or 48 hour. I try not to do, I probably won't, like move up a deadline or something like that, because that's not always helpful. But I may take something away if I feel like, we don't really need to do that. It's going to take too much time, so on and so forth. Late work, makeup policy, because of the nature of the online course. Again, I really don't have time to chase people down. This is not high school. I'm not going to look for late work or makeup work. You can turn stuff in early. That's why I open up these drop boxes usually weeks ahead of time. You don't have to wait until the essay or the quiz is due. You can turn it in earlier if you don't want to worry about being late. If you know that you need to go out of town, again, I mean, you can turn stuff in early. If you have internet access, pretty much anywhere in the world, you can access your Blackboard page. You can do this stuff. The only thing where it becomes problematic is if you're in the hospital with COVID or something. And if you're in the hospital, right, you need to have somebody let me know. Because otherwise, if you don't let me know, you don't have to go in a whole lot of detail. But, if you got COVID or something and you're in the hospital and you don't let me know anything until 5 weeks later, you're already failing the course. And there's really nothing I can do because you didn't let me know 5 weeks earlier. So whether it has to be a mom or a brother, have the common courtesy, at least let me know that, hey, I'm in the hospital. I'm not going to be able to do some of this. Can we work out a arrangement? And then I will say, yes, I will sort of set up a working deadline for you particularly. But again, it's going to be a 0 until you turn something in, because I can't leave the grade book blank. So just keep that in mind. So this is our course, the same information you'll see on your lesson page. The overview, it goes from Sunday to Sunday basically. Again, the page numbers are in your e-text. That's usually where your quiz information is going to come from. So anything that's in 6 through 16, 44 through 53, 88 through 94, or 195 to 204 is all fair game. Again, it's a 10 question quiz, true, false. If it's false, you say false, but then you turn the statement into a true statement to get full 10 points. If it's just true, just put true and move on. Week 2, on the 16th at 12:01 midnight, the week 2 stuff is going to open up. Consequently, the week 1 stuff is going to close down. So if you don't turn that quiz in by 11:59 this Sunday, it's going to grade it automatically as a 0, and you can't go back and retake it. Same thing. Week 3, week 4, week 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so on and so forth. Notice week 13 is our spring break. Spring semester at the college. Now, I know some of y'all might be dual enrollment students. Y'all may have a certain schedule that y'all follow with your school, public school, but keep in mind, the college doesn't follow your public school schedule. So we only have 2 holidays off for the spring semester. We have Martin Luther King Day, which is coming up, I believe, on the 17th. And then we have the spring break. All the other times, we have to go. So just keep that in mind. Just because you have it off at public school doesn't mean that we have it off. Granted, you have 7-day period to get stuff done. But just keep in mind, like I teach a TRF course, and they have President's Day off, which is, I think, the 21st of February. Well, that's nice. They have it off, but guess what? The college doesn't, so we still have to show up for work. So just be careful of that. I think I'm going to end it there. because I really don't know how long I've been going here. And I think that was enough. I think if you read that email that I sent out last week and you watch this video, um, you should be able to have enough, enough stuff to go with. And you can always email me. You can always call me. Again, like I said, I think Wednesday or Thursday I'm gonna try to do maybe another video, or I may send out maybe maybe do like a live lecture or live tutorial. If there's anybody that wants to show up, have questions, we can kind of use it as a Q&A. Not so much as a live lecture, but as a, if you have questions, if you have concerns, it's more, I put more of the power in your voice, so you ask those things and I can work through those with you. Until then, I hope everybody has a great first week, a great Monday and a great Tuesday. Be safe, be dry, be warm, and I will send out probably, I'm probably going to do sort of like a question and answer type deal, a live lecture sort of on Wednesday or Thursday, and I will email everybody information about that because it's going to probably be through your Blackboard Collaborate, which is what we're using here. So until then, have a great week. Have a great Monday and Tuesday. And I look forward to working with everybody throughout the rest of the semester. Thank you.